All right, World Finals Day 2 predictions. I mean, Day 1 was pretty nuts. And I do have it here. I will hold myself accountable. No, I got 9 of the 16 first rounds correct. These were my predictions for Day 1. And there were quite a few upsets. If you go by the seeding number, there were 9 lower seeded players to win their first round games. Obviously, the biggest one of the day was Hasiel defeating Lucas, who was one of the favorites to win the tournament. And we'll go over some of the matches. We'll go over all the matches as we do the predictions. I thought a lot of players looked really good, really strong, and some players looked like the champions had thrown them off. I think even Lucas had mentioned that the champions were troubling, but it's in a good way because I think the champions just bring another element to the game. I love it. Oh, by the way, while I have this going on, I did play a game. It was in the practice mode, but I did play somebody who was in the top 1,000 for like the first time. I played this dude and I won, so I'm just going to play this one while I'm doing the predictions. And I'll play some of the other matches and we'll do T-Royale. But yeah, obviously the biggest upset, as I mentioned, was Hasiel defeating Lucas. Air Surfer, who I thought was going to make a deep run in this tournament, lost to Line. That was a really close one. Hajime defeated Viper. That was a big one for a lot of people who were thinking like Viper may make a big run. The one that a lot of people thought was going to happen, I mentioned it in the previous video, Vitor defeating Anaban. A lot of people thought that was there was an opening for an upset there. So yeah, a lot of good matches. I tried to watch as much as possible. I was at work. I did catch some of the big ones that happened. I wanted to make sure I went back and watched them. So that's Day 1. We got 9 of the 16 correct. So here is Day 2. Again, RevolAimar is doing another contest where the winner gets a Baby Dragon plushie. And those are really cool. So I'm hoping hopefully I go 8 for 8 in this round. And then we'll see how it goes for Day 3. I don't know how I don't know what the cutoff is for Day 2 in terms of how many players are going to try to get down to. If they do it like how they did with the regular monthlies, then I believe they got it down to 6 players left, where they had the 2 winners finalists, and then the rest of the other players are in losers quarterfinals. So I don't know how deep they're going to go. They may go until there's 8 left and then just run a traditional top 8. Again, this is double elimination, I should mention. This is double elimination at this point. So anybody who I pick to lose is not out of the tournament at this point here. So let's go through them. First off, we have Mohamed Light and Mini Minter. I'll tell you what, Mohamed Light looked every bit the number 1 contender to win this tournament. I mean, you could tell he was not playing around today. You see, like, there was a lot of nervousness from other players. They weren't sure how things were. Mohamed Light knew exactly what was going on every time. That first opening with the Archer Queen, I was like, oh, there's no doubt in it. Like, he came to play. This was a great display by Mohamed Light. So it's tough for me to pick anybody but Mohamed Light in this situation. So I'm gonna switch to another game here. I'll switch to a game that I won. Okay. So Mohamed Light, yeah, I would say it's tough to pick against him. He looked really, really good in day one. There's really nothing else to say. Mini Minter has had a great season, and I think he just got a bad draw. He's going to have to play. Now, again, he can rise up through loser's bracket if that's the case, and perhaps face Muhammad Light again in either the Final Four or in Grand Finals. But tough draw for Mini Minter, and it's going to be tough for him to beat Muhammad Light. Next, we have Morton and El Siop. This was now it was a surprise to me, and I totally forgot that El Siop, has been on this stage before. A former world champion going up against Morton, who has also been on the stage, not a world champion, but this would really complete his resume if he were to do it. This is really a 50-50. I mean, this may be the best match of the day. It's really, these two guys just are just amazing. And I would not be surprised if either one of them play. Just having seen Morton more often, I'm thinking of going Morton, but I think a lot of people in the community know that El Siop is going to be bringing a lot of tricks, going to be trying a lot of things that are solid. I'm going to go Morton, but my confidence level is like at 50%. It's really a toss-up. So, yeah, like I said, I'm going to go Morton in this match here. And again, any of these guys who I pick to lose, it just run it back through losers and then get to grand finals, and then who knows how it will go. Hajime and Kazudi, I would say I thought Igor played really well in that first one. He had I'm trying to remember here. Igor had Grieco. That was a tough one, and Hajime had Viper. The Hajime game was really weird. I was watching, I was like, man, it didn't really seem like, I mean, obviously Viper was trying some stuff against Hajime, but it seemed like Hajime had control of that game throughout, and that was the number 4 seed in the tournament. So you wonder what he's going to be able to do against Igor in day 2. I really think Igor has the advantage here. It's just I think he'll be able to withstand the storm that Hajime is going to be bringing. But again, if Hajime figures it out and just controls the game like he did against Viper, then Igor's going to have a really, really tough day, and Hajime may go all the way to winners finals here. So I'm going to go Igor. Tough draw, but yeah, I mean, I would say that's who I would go with, is Igor. Okay, we got Sam Basoto and Serge TS, Battle of Brazil. Sam Basoto looked really, really good. I'm trying to remember who Serge TS played. Oh, he played KK. That was, I'm trying to remember seeing that match. There was nothing really that stood out about that one. I remember Samuel Basoto played really, really, really well in that first match against Bob the Rock. Again, that Bob the Rock match, I think, was really close. So I'm going to go Sam Basoto. And I would not be surprised if these two met later in the bracket. In Final Four or who knows, in like maybe even losers finals. So I'm going to go Sam Basoto. So the next one, we have Hasiel and Line. And as I mentioned at the top, I mean, Hasiel just looked like someone who, I mean, just knew exactly what was going on. I mean, that was not a fluke win by any stretch of the means. that was just not a fluke win. That was someone who came prepared, solid play, figured it out, and took down Lucas. And I was just like stunned. I think a lot of us were stunned. And I remember there was one streamer, oh geez, I'm trying to remember, who did say that Lucas was not going to win. And I was like, you're probably just saying that just to get viewers. But I mean, it happened. So it's like, wow. But the way Hasiel played was just unbelievable. I mean, that's it. It's everything you can ask for. And it's one of those things where, will he be able to carry that momentum into day 2? Or will it be just that he studied and studied and studied for the whole month for the one matchup against Lucas, and then now it just flames out and goes 0-2. So that's the tough thing to decide here. Line played Air Surfer. That was a really tough. I mean, gosh, that was one of the toughest matches of the day. Now, obviously, they have a day to recover. So you wonder, okay, Line gets a good night's sleep, understands, okay, now I'm going to be playing somebody who it can't be taken for granted because he took out the number 2 player in the tournament. I'm going to go with another upset victory. I'm going to say that Hasiel figures it out and takes out Line, and then maybe goes 0-2 the rest of the way, but I'm going to go for another upset victory here for Hasiel. I'm just going to ride the wave here. Okay, Vitor and Michifu. So again, this is kind of like the Hasiel situation for Vitor. Is that okay? He had a month to study against one of the best ladder players of all time. Will that carry over into the next round? Because Michifu played Pandora, and I caught a little bit of it. I caught more of the Vitor match just because I was like, okay, is this really going to be an upset? It was, and I thought Vitor played really well. I was like, wow, okay, but then again, I was kind of like expecting that. Okay, I predicted the upset, and it happened. Okay, now where does Vitor go from here? Was it all because of? Is it all that he studied for a month, or is he actually going to make this run to deep into the tournament? And I'm going to say he does it. So I'm going to say for now that he at least we'll do it the same way as Hasiel. So Vitor will get a win, and then at some point take 2 losses in a row. It may be after Hasiel. And I should mention here that the way they set up these pairings, or the way Revel set up these pairings, is that these two will meet. The winner of Mohamed Ali Mini Mentor will face Morn or El Siap, and then these two, Hajime or Eagle, will face one of the Brazilians, and then these two, and then these two over on the red side. But I'm going to go Vitor, and then one of them is going to get into top 8 winners, which would be really wow. So, yeah, I'm going to go Vitor for that one. Sandbox and Wallace. Sandbox, I'm trying to remember. He faced Keith. I caught a little bit of that. The Wallace match I caught, that was against Famous Kid. Wallace looked really, really good. So I'm leaning toward Wallace for this one. I was only able to see a little bit of Sandbox, so it could be that. It could be just that recency thing, or just having more of, what do you call it? Seeing more of Wallace made me think that, okay, Wallace is going to win this one. So I'm going to pick Wallace, but it could be a 50-50 in that one. Let me put some TV Royale in here. So I'm going to go Wallace for this one. Again, it could be that, they meet later in the tournament here. From Sito and Mugi. Okay, so So Fremcito is this is one of those weird situations here where, okay, most people who follow the scene or have followed the league since it started this year and knows what Fremcito had to deal with just to get to this point in terms of the matches he played. And I'm not going to call it luck, but it's just wild that it has come to this, that he got a couple lucky bounces go his way, and he has parlayed that into a top 16 matchup against Mugi. It just has that feeling of there may not be any way to stop Fremcito. That if that's what I'm trying to get at. There may not be a way to stop Fremcito at this point. He may just ride this all the way to winners finals against Muhammad Light, or he may go 0-2. But it just has that aura of he found a way to get into the last chance qualifier. He won the 2 games he needed to win, and now he's going to just take this all the way to winners finals. It just has that feeling to it, that's the wildest part about it. He's going up against Mugi, who I don't want to say got a lucky win, but it was just really unfortunate that Reichert played a card in Game 3 that he had already played in the match, and that's the reason why Mugi is in this spot here, because of, I guess, essentially a DQ. I'm gonna go with Fremcito, just because, like as I mentioned, that it just seems like maybe this is his time, and things are just working out and lining up for him to go to winners finals. That's as deep as it is. So yeah, it is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna go Fremcito here. I think what a lot of people are looking at this point is it comes down to this. Do you think Muhammad Light is going to win? And if you do, then who do you think is going to be the biggest contender from this point forward? And I don't know. It could be Morton. I think this pod right here of Muhammad Light, Mini Mitcher, Morton, and Elsiop is the strongest of the 4 pods in the bracket. Like, if you take Muhammad Light out of the scenario, who do you have from Morton, Elsiop, and Mini Mitcher getting out of that pool and going into its, let's say, at least winners finals? That's tough. That is really tough. The other 4 pods are pretty much 50-50, especially the last pod here, Sandbox, Wallace, Fremcito, and Mugi. That seems almost like a 50. It seems almost even that any one of those could get in. Hasiel, Lime, Vitor, Mishifu, that also seems pretty even. The strongest pod is definitely Muhammad Light, where he is obviously the favorite, and then the other 3. But the other 3 are really, really, really good. So it's not going to be a walk for anybody at this point. And as I mentioned, in the prediction yesterday, you give players a month to figure out everybody else's strategy, and there can't be anything that's really an upset because you just had a month to prepare. So yeah, those are my predictions, and I'm gonna go submit this to RevolAimar, and then we'll get started with the ladder play because I really want to do better than last time. So let me just save this. All right, and we're good. So those are my predictions for day 2 of the CRL World Finals.